It's 2:03 in the morning. Your room is completely still. No sound, no movement. And then your dog shifts. Not a small adjustment, a full body reposition, a dramatic spin, a heavy sigh. And suddenly, somehow, they now occupy 80% of your bed, you hanging on to the remaining 20% like it's a life raft. And here's the strange part. They had options. A perfectly good dog bed, the couch, that warm patch of floor where sunlight hits all day. Even your laundry pile, which, let's be honest, they treat like a luxury hotel. But no, they chose you. Most people think they understand why. They're cold. It's just a habit. They're clingy. But wait, here's the interesting part. None of those explanations are actually correct, because what your dog is doing every single night, right there, pressed against your leg, is one of the deepest, most ancient expressions of trust that exists between two species on this planet. And once you see it, you won't look at it the same way again. If you're already thinking, yeah, my dog does this every night, comment always. I want to see how many of you are dealing with bed thieves. Now let's break the biggest myth first. The warmth theory. It sounds logical, right? Dogs get cold. You're warm. Case closed. Except your dog has access to multiple warm places. So if warmth was the goal, why ignore all of them? Why walk past every quiet, comfortable spot in the house just to squeeze into a space that barely fits both of you? Because this isn't about comfort. It's about vulnerability. Sleep is the most dangerous state any animal can be in. When your dog is asleep, they can't run. They can't defend themselves. They can't react. And every instinct in their body, instincts passed down from thousands of years of survival, tells them, find a place that is safe, hidden, protected. But your dog does something unexpected. They don't hide. They don't isolate. They walk directly to you, a creature 10 to 15 times their size, and choose to fall asleep right next to you. That's not convenience. That's trust, at its highest possible level. And science actually backs this up in a way most people never hear about. Behavioral researchers once took a famous test used on human babies, called the strange situation, and adapted it for dogs. This test measures attachment, not just affection, but emotional dependence, safety, and security. The results? Dogs didn't just show attachment. They showed the same type of attachment human infants show toward their mothers, the same need for closeness, the same distress when separated, the same calm when reunited. Let that sink in. When your dog chooses to sleep beside you, they are doing the exact same thing a baby does when it reaches for its parent in the dark. They're not being needy. They're saying, you are my safe place. But here's where it gets even deeper, because this isn't just psychology. It's chemistry. There's a molecule in your brain called oxytocin. It's often called the love hormone. It's what floods a mother's brain when she holds her newborn. What you feel during deep connection, trust, bonding. Now here's the wild part. When you and your dog look at each other, both of your brains release oxytocin at the same time. It's not one-sided. It's a loop. You look at your dog, your oxytocin increases. Your dog looks at you, their oxytocin increases, which makes them want to stay close, which strengthens the bond, which keeps the loop going. And no, this doesn't happen with other animals the same way. Even wolves raised by humans don't show this loop. This is something that evolved specifically between dogs and humans, over thousands of years. But wait, here's the part most people miss. Touch makes it even stronger. Studies show that just 10 minutes of petting your dog can lower stress hormones in both of you. Now imagine what happens over 6, 7, 8 hours of sleeping side by side. This isn't just cuddling. It's two nervous systems syncing, which leads to a surprising question. What if your dog isn't disturbing your sleep? What if they're actually improving it? That sounds wrong, right? Because objectively, dogs move, they stretch, they kick, they absolutely disrupt your sleep. And yet, when researchers tracked people sleeping with their dogs, almost all of them reported feeling more relaxed, more secure, more rested, even when the data showed interruptions. Why? Because your brain doesn't just care about silence. It cares about safety. And for most of human history, we didn't sleep alone. We slept in groups, families, communities. Being alone at night is actually unnatural for your nervous system. So when your dog sleeps next to you, that quiet, steady breathing, that warm presence, your brain recognizes something ancient. You're not alone. You're safe. And sometimes, that feeling matters more than perfect sleep conditions. If your dog sleeps next to you and you secretly love it, comment, safe. I'm curious how many people feel this. Now let's zoom out even further, because this behavior didn't start recently. It goes back about 15,000 years, before cities, before farming, before written language. Back when early humans lived in small groups, wolves began approaching human camps. Not aggressively, curiously. The friendlier ones, the less fearful ones, stayed closer. They got food scraps, warmth from fires. They survived. And over generations, something incredible happened. They changed, not just behaviorally, but genetically. They became what we now call dogs. And here's a detail that changes everything. Archaeologists discovered a burial site from around 14,000 years ago. two humans buried together, and beside them, two dogs. But one of those dogs had survived a severe illness, an illness that would have killed it within weeks without care, which means someone, thousands of years ago, stayed with that dog, fed it, protected it, helped it survive. Long before modern civilization, dogs weren't just useful, they were family. And over thousands of years, that bond didn't just continue, it strengthened, genetically. Modern dogs actually carry specific genetic traits that make them more drawn to humans, more social, more attached, more likely to seek closeness. So when your dog climbs into your bed, they're not breaking rules, they're following 15,000 years of evolution. Now here's the paradox. Everything we've talked about says this is a deep, meaningful bond. But there's a flip side most people ignore. Because when that behavior suddenly changes, it matters a lot. If your dog has slept next to you every night for months, years, and then one day they stop, don't ignore it. Dogs are creatures of habit. They don't randomly abandon routines that make them feel safe. Sometimes, yes, it can be something small, a new environment, a schedule change, a new person in the house. Dogs are incredibly sensitive to subtle shifts. But sometimes, it's something else. Pain. Studies have shown that changes in sleep location can be one of the earliest signs of discomfort, before limping, before visible symptoms. A dog who stops jumping on the bed might not be choosing the floor, they might be unable to climb. And in older dogs, changes in sleep behavior can signal cognitive decline, confusion, disorientation, restlessness. So if something changes, pay attention. Because your dog doesn't have words, behavior is their language, and this might be them trying to tell you something. Here's the final twist, that moment at 3 a.m. when you wake up, uncomfortable, pushed to the edge, barely holding on to your pillow. It doesn't feel meaningful, it feels inconvenient. But in reality, what's happening in that moment is something incredibly rare. A bond shaped by thousands of years, a chemical connection shared by almost no other species, a level of trust so deep your dog is willing to be completely vulnerable beside you. They didn't choose the safest place in the house, they chose you as the safest place in their world. And maybe, just maybe, your brain feels it too, even if you don't fully realize it. Because deep down, that quiet comfort, that steady presence beside you, that feeling that you're not alone in the dark, that might be why you sleep just a little bit better than you think. So tonight, when your dog circles 3 times, sighs dramatically, and steals most of your bed, you can move them. Or you can recognize what it really means and let them stay. If this made you see your dog differently, comment trust. And if you've ever wondered why your dog stares at you like they're reading your soul, that's a whole different story.